Alejandro Vega, OK, je pense que j'ai la bonne prononciation, étudiant au doctorat, sous la direction d'Osvaldo Valeria de l'UQAT et la co-direction de François Girard de l'Université Laval. Alors, le thème, c'est quelles seraient les meilleures stratégies de gestion pour limiter l'influence directe et indirecte du réseau routier sur le bilan carbone?
Morning. First of all, this presentation is based on is part of a project which considers the 3 biomes in the world, but I'm going to talk specifically based on the province of Quebec, and is oriented just for the road area, not to the entire forest. What is the carbon balance? Carbon balance is the result of the equation between carbon sequestration and emissions. Forest is catching carbon from the atmosphere, stocking that in the soil or in good structures. And we have emissions which came from different sources like the forest or anthropic activities. When we harvest the forest, we obtain good products. This good product could stock carbon for several years, 50, 100 years. And when we build a road, we remove this part of the process, so we don't have a sink of carbon anymore on this area. Roads are the main source of deforestation in every forest because they are not replaced during the time. So if we replant this area, we could recover the capability to catch carbon and store carbon in good products for another process. Which are the impact of the forest over the carbon balance? This is a forest growing in natural condition. As the forest grows, the forest is stocking carbon. But when the harvesting process came, we need to build roads. And when we build roads, we remove all the forest, we remove the soil, we alter all the environment there, and we compact this area so the original condition will not be there anymore. And in several situations, we add aggregates or like gravel or asphalt. But during the time, some roads will recover the vegetation, but it's not common to see good species there. We will see just herbaceous species, which will not be contributing to stock carbon during a long period out of the process of the carbon in the forest. These are 4 different conditions of a road. We have an open road, an abandoned road, closed road, and a reforested road. It's easier to keep the road open or abandoned, but if we think in the capability to stock carbon, it's better to plant it. But it's not just, we need to plant that and coordinate that with a silvicultural plan. We have 2 choices, extensive forest management or intensive forest management. In the first case, this is oriented to preservation of the ecosystem, and in the other hand, we have a system oriented to the good production and is really connected with the industrial needs, is connected to the productivity, increase the economical revenues, and is oriented to the silvicultural practices. And the idea of the intensive forest management is to produce good in the shorter period of time. So going back to this slide, we could plant, considering extensive forest management, but we could put a plant here, but we will have just a tree growing in different conditions to the original one, and it's not possible to obtain the same amount of carbon stocked in the trees growing in this area. But if we consider some practices related with intensive forest management, we could add, for instance, genetic improvement. If we plant genetic improved species here, it's possible to stock 17% more of carbon in these trees. And then if we consider soil preparation and fertilization, we could give ideal conditions for this plant to grow there. But when we give ideal condition, we are giving it ideal condition for the weeds or foreign species to establish there. So we need to consider weed control. This is really important. This is the reason why the interval is high, between 4 and 1,000%, because if we don't control the weed, we could lose our plantation. And if our plantation, our species are oriented to produce a wood of high quality, we could consider pruning and thinning, and we could reorient the carbon to the follower individuals. This could be a good solution. We could obtain the highest amount of wood, a good amount of carbon in the roads, but we need money and with resources to do that. If we compare different processes to replant and recover that area, it's not the activity in the forest is not the only one activity that we need to consider, because the problems are generated in the origin of them, which is related with the planification. We need to plan what we want to do with this area, how we'll recover this road, considering the growing period of the forest which we are replanting. We need to connect that with the industrial needs. We need to consider which kind of species we're going to plant there, and if these species are able to catch a high amount of carbon. The impact on carbon is high, and the feasibility is high too. The second choice is to reduce the density. If we reduce the density is really connected with the logging distance. As higher the logging distance, the lower the road density. The impact is high, but it's not really possible to do that, because if you see a map of the forest managed area in Quebec, you will see that the roads are everywhere, and they were growing during the time, and they are not, it's not possible to destroy this network easily. And finally, if we change the practices, it will have a high impact, and the feasibility is high. We need to change machinery. We need to change the way to transport the good. If we change machinery, we will reduce the road density. We could increase the logging distance, so we could build less road in the future. For that, we will need to consider to change the machinery with contractors, different tender process. Maybe in 10 years, it would be possible to change all the machinery. And now, going to the field, it's possible to deactivate and close the road. Yes, it's possible, but we need some considerations. Here in Quebec, the roads are public, so they receive a public investment there, and it's not easy to destroy that. The roads are used by the people, and the other consideration is that we need to decide which road we will close, oriented to give the access to the rest of the forest. The next stand could be harvested during the next 10 years, 50 years. So if we decide to close this road, we could lose the access there, and we will remove the plantation previous to the period when they will catch all the carbon. If we consider the extensive forest management, this is the standard. This is the way to do the thing today. The impact is not high. As we can see, we just plant the tree there. The soil is really poor. And the feasibility is easy. It's just put the tree there. But if we consider the intensive forest management practices, the impact is positive, but we need to consider some things like changing the way to do the thing. Some processes are not common here in Quebec, like weed control with chemical products, maybe considering fertilization or the monocultural processes. And in conclusion, the first thing that we need to consider is to plan in long terms. If we, as I said, if we plan for a long period of time, we could change the way to transport. Maybe we could reduce the fleet for transport the wood. We could consider a more efficient machinery for that. We need to decide if we want to close the road. If here in Quebec, there are like 130,000 of roads in conditions like winter roads or abandoned. This abandoned road, nobody is taking care of them. So this is a source of, here we are losing soil. We are creating some problems for the water. And if we close this road and we plant them, we could recover, if we recover just the 50% of the roads, we could recover 60,000 of hectares of forest. If we decide to replant that, as I said, it would be a good plan to coordinate this plantation with the next generation to connect this plantation with the next period of harvest. We need to decide when to plant that, if it's possible to plant that during the next years, and what would be the impact on that on the forestry operation. And it's necessary to evaluate if it's really possible to put money there and what will be the revenues of that. Because it's not easy to work in a road, to plant a road, 100 kilometers of road with two lines of trees and with different species they are growing in the forest. And the next, which is really important, are we able to work with intensive forest management? Is it possible to work with chemical products? Is it possible to work with genetically improved species? Do we want to work with several activities which could not be considered in the current conditions? And the last, which is really important, is really important to consider if these roads, which will be closed, are connected with the will be used in case of fires or need to, they will bring an access for the forest fire control. Thank you.